exciting week of sports this week. First of all, I'm going to stick to home in Bowie State. And so first of all, Wednesday, first conference home game of the season. We are hosting the defending champions, Winston-Salem State, Wednesday night in Bowie. I can't wait for that one. I'm excited. Definitely going to be in the building, VIP section. Looking forward to that, especially after what happened over the weekend against Claflin. That was our first conference game of the season on the road against a Claflin team that had given up 80 points or more in 4 of their 5 games. But for whatever reason, we went out there and we were struggling to get the ball inbounded. We were struggling to get the ball across half court. All of a sudden, they looked like the best defensive team in the conference. I don't understand what happened. They were running harder than we were. They were playing harder than we were. They were more physical than we were. It seemed like they wanted that game a lot more than what we did. They rolled up in there. We rolled up in there. They punched us in the mouth early and got us up out of there. Now, the women, they did much better. They actually beat Claflin. They're number 10 in the region. Shout out to the ladies. They're doing their thing. But that first game of conference play was alarming. Well, we are doing a lot better than what we were doing last year. Already have 4 wins when last year we won 7 games total. Already have passed our home game wins in terms of how many home games we won in the season. We won 3 home games all last season. Already won 4 this year. Now, the road record is alarming. Not doing too well on the road. On top of that, tonight, I'm not expecting to win tonight. We're playing George Washington, Division I team on the road. So I'm not expecting to win tonight. But that would drop us to 4-6. If we lose Thursday to Winston-Salem State, that's going to drop us to 4-7. So listen, Winston-Salem becomes a huge game. First of all, it's the second conference game after our first lackluster conference showing. So listen, there's a lot on the line Thursday night. Looking forward to it. Now let's get into Wednesday night. Wednesday night, the Florida Beach Bowl. Basically the D2 version of the Celebration Bowl. SEAC versus CIAA. Let's just keep it all the way real. I'm a CIAA guy. I'm clearly going for the CIAA. Like, come on now. It really didn't matter what CIAA team was going in. I was going to pick them unless it was like Livingstone or somebody like that. Johnson C. Smith, 7-3. But what's very impressive about Johnson C. Smith, very good defensive team. Best defense in the CIAA by the amount of touchdowns they gave up. Gave up the fewest amount of touchdowns than anybody in the conference. On top of that, perfect. And I couldn't believe this when I first saw this, but it's true. Made every single extra point this year. I'm telling you, in the CIAA, that is very impressive. Did not miss one. Over 40% on third down, over 40% on fourth down. They score, about 20-something points a game? Give up, less than 20 a game. Once again, solid defense. They're about 150 yards rushing, about 160 passing. Solid offensive team. Now, some would say Fort Valley State, they put up too many points. But this is what I'll say about that. When you look at the SEAC, half of the conference gave up over 40 touchdowns this year. Let me say that again. Half of the conference gave up 40 touchdowns or more this year in 10 games. So half the conference was giving up 4 touchdowns a game. And so when you look at Fort Valley State's points per game, a lot of it is like, okay, Kentucky State, Morehouse, what's the other one? Clark. There's not a whole lot of defense being played in the SEAC. Even Edward Waters, that had a much better year, they had 2 last-second wins, and they're not known for stopping anybody. Basically, Edward Waters is just like Lincoln, except for Edward Waters was able to pull out a couple of games at the end where Lincoln was not. But both teams going to score a whole lot of points, can't stop anybody. So, yes, Fort Valley State scores a lot more points than Johnson C. Smith. But that, honestly, in my opinion, that just comes from playing in the SEAC. Everybody's scoring over there. Only team that's not giving up touchdowns is Benedict. Everybody else giving up 2, 3, 4 touchdowns a game over there. So, But like I said, I'm picking Johnson C. Smith. Defense is going to beat offense. Defense travels well. And of course, CIAA, man. Come on now. So Johnson C. Smith is going to win the inaugural Florida Beach Bowl by a score of 21-13. Johnson C. Smith. Actually, it might be more higher scoring than that. Against Fayetteville State, I feel like Johnson C. Smith is going to get that running game going. They're not going to be able to stop them boys. I'm going to go 27-13, Johnson C. Smith. And then we got the big matchup on Saturday. The Celebration Bowl, FAMU versus Howard. Listen, I actually saw Howard in person versus Morgan State. And Morgan State's defense was able to really stop a lot of what Howard was doing. And even with that, if it wasn't for like a non-call on the pass interference, Morgan State may have been able to tie up or maybe even win that game. Then I look at Howard's schedule. They got an impressive close loss to Northwestern. That's an impressive loss. I'll give them that. They got an impressive win against Central. I'll give them that. Outside of that, you got a Morehouse on the schedule, and it's like at the end of the day, they finished the year 6-5. Like, I mean, you got a 6-5 Howard going up against an 11-1 FAMU. FAMU, we all know, started off the season spanking Jackson State. It just pretty much ran through the entirety of the SWAC with no problems. They're very good on offense, probably the best offense in the SWAC. And the top defense in the SWAC. I mean, the only way I can see Howard winning this game is if Howard is able to control the game and control the clock by running the ball. If Howard can run the ball with the quarterback and the running back, then they have a chance. But if FAMU is able to stop Howard's running game, it's going to be a long day for Howard. So honestly, I don't think it's going to be that close. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm taking FAMU 31-17.